millions of people right now are struggling with chronic brain fog, relentless exhaustion, and stubborn belly fat that simply will not budge. They swallow handfuls of expensive supplements, endure grueling workouts, and blindly follow every new wellness trend pushed by the media. But the brutal truth is, the culprit behind your endless suffering is not in your stomach, and it is certainly not a lack of synthetic medication. The billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry absolutely refuses to tell you that the root cause of your physical collapse is actually hidden deep within your sympathetic nervous system. Today, I am going to reveal a biological miracle that has been intentionally dismissed as a mere myth by mainstream medicine. It is a precise physiological intervention known as the Podi Method. By placing a single drop of a highly specific biological solvent into your navel, you are not just practicing some outdated folk remedy. You are literally hacking into a high-speed data line connected directly to your enteric nervous system. In this video, I am going to show you exactly how to manipulate your own physiology in less than 60 seconds, forcing your body to permanently shut off its internal stress switch and awaken a profound state of healing. Let us deeply examine why your expensive sleeping pills, calming teas, and trendy meditation apps are failing you so miserably. To truly understand this failure, we have to look at the anatomical masterpiece known as the vagus nerve. This is the longest, most complex, and arguably the most important nerve of your entire autonomic nervous system. It acts as the grand biological conductor of your rest and digest state, legally known in clinical research as the parasympathetic nervous system. When this nerve is activated, your heart rate drops, your digestion optimizes, and your body begins the critical work of cellular regeneration. But here is the horrifying truth about our modern existence. Most of us are completely trapped in a perpetual state of fight-or-flight sympathetic dominance. Because of artificial lighting, financial stress, and toxic environments, your cortisol and adrenaline levels are artificially elevated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your primitive brain believes it is constantly under physical attack. To survive this perceived threat, your biology actively shunts blood away from your digestive organs, suppresses your immune system, and completely halts all deep cellular repair mechanisms. This continuous, unseen state of panic is silently destroying your metabolic health from the inside out, leading to severe systemic inflammation and a massive accumulation of cellular waste. Now imagine if you could somehow bypass this physiological barrier entirely and manually flip the switch back to a state of profound calm. This brings us to the true hidden function of the human navel. Most people, and even many medical professionals, view the belly button as nothing more than a useless aesthetic scar left over from birth. But in the advanced realm of molecular biology and somatic mapping, it is recognized as the ultimate anatomical gateway. The navel is the direct remnant of your very first vital connection to life itself. Behind this thin layer of tissue lies a massive convergence zone, where thousands of delicate nerve endings and microscopic blood vessels intertwine. Unlike the thick, calloused skin on your arms or legs, the tissue inside the navel lacks a heavy defensive structure. There is no complex physiological barrier here to block absorption. It remains an open, highly permeable channel that leads straight to the vagus nerve and the dense neural network surrounding your vital internal organs. But you cannot just drop any random liquid into this gateway and expect a biological response. This is where we introduce the ultimate biological cleanup machine, pure cold-pressed castor oil. Or, to be scientifically accurate, we are talking about ricinoleic acid. This rare, highly specialized fatty acid makes up nearly 90% of pure castor oil, and it possesses a molecular architecture unlike almost any other lipid known to science. While normal dietary fats, like those found in coconut oil, olive oil, or commercial skin lotions, are structurally bulky and simply sit uselessly on top of the stratum corneum, Ricinoleic acid is a complete structural anomaly. It has a single, strategically placed hydroxyl group on the 12th carbon of its 18-carbon chain. This tiny, seemingly insignificant biochemical detail actually changes everything. It gives the oil a remarkably low molecular weight and a highly specific chemical polarity. In other words, ricinoleic acid acts as a supreme transdermal carrier. It does not just hydrate the surface of your skin, it aggressively pierces right through the epidermal layers, bypassing the usual defensive blocks and directly enters the interstitial fluid of your body. This interstitial fluid is the literal ocean in which all of your cells swim, communicate, and excrete their metabolic waste. When ricinoleic acid enters this deeply internal environment through the highly permeable tissue of the navel, it does not just passively float around, it initiates a profound, immediate biochemical reaction at the cellular level. It begins to interact intimately with the localized nerve endings, sending a massive, undeniable signal straight up the vagus nerve directly to your brainstem. It is communicating a powerful message of absolute safety, commanding the brain to immediately power down the sympathetic nervous system. This is the exact mechanism behind the sudden, heavy wave of relaxation and deep restorative sleep that so many users report experiencing within minutes of application. You are not artificially sedating your brain with synthetic chemicals. You are physically resetting your entire autonomic nervous system using an ancient, flawlessly designed biological key. What is the most insane and deeply concerning reality about this entire process the moment you apply that drop of oil deep into the navel? The answer lies within a highly specific, microscopic biological response known as the activation of EP3 and EP4 prostanoid receptors. These powerful cellular gatekeepers act as the master control center for your entire systemic inflammatory response. Pharmaceutical companies have spent decades and countless billions of dollars attempting to engineer synthetic drugs capable of mimicking this exact chemical pathway. Their goal is always the same: suppression. When you consume standard, over-the-counter anti-inflammatory pills or pain relievers, you are violently forcing your biology to artificially shut down its pain signals. But this creates a catastrophic long-term problem. The chemical suppression of inflammation almost inevitably leads to a massive accumulation of stagnant, deeply embedded cellular debris. In simple terms, you are trapping the very toxins your body is desperately trying to expel. But ricinoleic acid operates under a fundamentally different and far superior biological law. When these specific receptors within your navel tissue detect the presence of pure castor oil, it commands your body not to simply hide the inflammation, but to actively resolve it. It forcefully encourages your tissues to re-establish their homeostatic baseline, triggering a cascade of immune system activity that systematically hunts down and destroys the toxic residue left behind by chronic stress. This is the physiological difference between hiding a rotting piece of food under a rug and actually scrubbing the floor with a high-grade biosolvent. You are forcibly rebooting your immune system, optimizing the lymphatic drainage of your deep internal organs, and creating an environment where deep, restorative cellular healing becomes your absolute default state. But here is where we must expose the terrifying, heavily guarded truth about the global cosmetics and natural health industry. If you rush out right now and purchase a random, cheap bottle of castor oil from your local pharmacy or a massive online retailer, you might literally be poisoning yourself from the inside out. The brutal reality is that almost 90% of the commercially available oils on the market are completely structurally compromised and fundamentally dangerous. This is the dark, silent secret that the billion-dollar extraction industry aggressively refuses to tell you. To maximize profit margins and extract every last drop of oil from the seed, these massive agricultural corporations rely on a highly toxic, neurotoxic solvent known as hexane. When they flood the raw seeds with this harsh industrial chemical, They obliterate the delicate, highly complex molecular structure of the ricinoleic acid, completely neutralizing its supreme healing properties. Even worse, microscopic trace amounts of this destructive neurotoxic solvent inevitably remain trapped within the final product. And remember what we just established about the supreme penetrative power of the Navel. When you apply hexane-processed oil to this highly permeable gateway, you are creating a high-speed, express delivery system that pumps a known neurotoxin directly into your deep tissues, your lymphatic system, and eventually your bloodstream. You are literally inviting a profound biological disaster into your system under the guise of holistic healing. Furthermore, the physical container itself is often a silent killer. When these heavily processed compromised oils are stored in cheap plastic bottles for months at a time, the residual ricinoleic acid acts as a powerful solvent against the plastic packaging itself. It rapidly begins to leach massive quantities of bisphenol A, also known as BPA, and highly toxic phthalates directly into the oil you are about to absorb. These synthetic chemicals are globally recognized endocrine disruptors. They aggressively mimic estrogen in the human body, violently crashing your delicate hormonal balance, destroying your thyroid function, and actively promoting the accumulation of stubborn, highly inflammatory belly fat. By using these cheap, commercial-grade oils, you are unknowingly saturating your endocrine system with the exact metabolic poisons you are desperately trying to eliminate. To achieve the profound, life-changing physiological reset we are discussing here today, you must absolutely refuse to compromise on the purity of your biological input. The law of biohacking is simple. The supreme quality of the input unconditionally dictates the supreme quality of the output. If you truly want to hack your biology and force your body to initiate a state of deep cellular regeneration, your castor oil must meet a rigorous, uncompromising standard. It must be certified organic, totally free of neurotoxic hexane, and strictly expeller-pressed. This traditional cold extraction method is the only way to preserve the fragile, incredibly potent molecular architecture of the ricinoleic acid, ensuring that every single drop remains fully biologically active and capable of penetrating your dermal layers. And most critically, this pure, unadulterated biosolvent must be stored exclusively in a dark, heavy amber glass bottle. This is not simply a luxurious aesthetic choice. The dark glass acts as a crucial, necessary shield, aggressively protecting the delicate fatty acids from the destructive forces of photooxidation and completely eliminating any risk of toxic plastic leaching. Never, under any circumstances, settle for anything less than this absolute gold standard of purity. You are not just buying a moisturizer. You are carefully selecting a powerful, highly active molecular tool designed to interface directly with your central nervous system. Castor oil, and specifically the targeted application of the Podi Method, is not a magical overnight cure-all. It is a profound, incredibly powerful biological facilitator. It does not blindly attack isolated symptoms or suppress the crucial signals your body is sending you. Instead, it systematically facilitates the safe removal of deeply embedded metabolic waste, powerfully initiates the absolute resolution of systemic inflammation, forcefully rebalances your chaotic autonomic nervous system, and actively supports the continuous remodeling of your internal tissues. I strongly challenge you to step out of the endless, exhausted cycle of passive consumption and step powerfully into the realm of active, intelligent biological experimentation. Your body is the ultimate laboratory, and you must become the lead scientist of your own physiology. As your lymphatic system slowly begins to move and your overburdened liver finally starts to safely dump decades of accumulated, highly toxic waste, you might experience a temporary wave of fatigue or a mild skin breakout. This is a crucial, heavily documented physiological event known as a Herxheimer reaction. It is absolutely not a sign that this powerful protocol is failing you. In fact, it is the exact opposite. It is a profound, undeniable physiological confirmation that your biological sewage system is finally, forcefully moving toward the exits. You must aggressively support this massive internal clearance by heavily increasing your daily hydration, consuming high-quality, mineral-rich sea salts, and dedicating yourself to deep, diaphragmatic breathing. This is the absolute difference between a shallow, temporary fix and a state of deep, permanent cellular healing. If you found this intense molecular breakdown valuable, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and critically, share this vital information with someone who is silently struggling with their health and desperately searching for a deeper, scientifically validated answer. The more we collectively share this evidence-based knowledge, the more we can fundamentally empower people to permanently break free from the devastating cycle of chronic disease.